Welcome to Live from the Archives. I'm Nancy Martin, the library archivist. Today I wanted to discuss the display that I have here based on the scrapbooks created by Peters Township Parent-Teacher Associations. And the archives is lucky enough to have scrapbooks dating from 1953 all the way up until 1980. And I just have to say I was very surprised by how much these scrapbooks document the changing concerns of township parents over time. The McMurray Parent-Teacher Association during the 1950s was actually responsible for both the elementary and the high school located at McMurray. And I learned a lot from those scrapbooks. For example, I learned that during the 1950s, the Parent-Teacher Association started what was called the Teen Canteen, which was a dance held every other Saturday night at the high school. And the rationale behind this development was that parents didn't like that teenagers had to leave the area, the township, to entertain themselves on weekends. They wanted to provide them with a source of entertainment closer to home, which is why the PTA came up with this idea for the Teen Canteen. Once it was an established event, they actually passed on responsibility for it to a student committee. And we have here in the display an image of the student committee for the Teen Canteen from 1955, taken from the Ember yearbook. We also have the canteen calendar for the 1955-56 year, and some of the themes included a jitterbug contest, a Christmas semi-formal, a dungaree dolls dance to which both boys and girls could wear jeans or slacks, woo-wee, and a just plain old-fashioned canteen that was held in March of 1956. Also, something that I was surprised to learn was that during the 1950s, tuberculosis was still a major concern of parent-teacher associations in the township. For example, in the display, we have a letter from the Washington County Tuberculosis and Health Association from 1956, in which they are writing to thank the PTA for their, quote, wonderful assistance with a chest x-ray survey that was recently held at McMurray. And then we also have this ABCs of Public Schools Today brochure that was put out by the state of Pennsylvania. And for the letter X, it is the X-ray of chest, a supplement to health examinations. And I think it's very easy for those of us today to forget the severity and importance of tuberculosis in the past. There were not effective antibiotic treatments for tuberculosis until the 1950s. And in fact, according to the National Institutes of Health, in 1953, there were 84,000 cases of tuberculosis reported in the United States. So these kinds of documents, again, show us the concerns of specific points in time. I have to say that the PTA in McMurray was not without a sense of humor. Yes, it was concerned with the mental and physical well-being of the students, but we have here the treasurer's proposed budget and final report from 1953 to 1954. And on the proposed budget sheet at the bottom is this hand-painted pink smiling piggy bank. On the bottom of the final report is the same piggy bank, smashed in half, frowning, eyes closed, with the hammer that was used to smash it also depicted in the image. And I just love seeing these little hints of people's personalities captured in the documents that they were creating. I was also surprised to learn that during the 1970s, Peters Township middle school parents were very concerned about the negative influence of television on their children. I guess I really shouldn't be concerned. It reminds me very much of today's concerns about screen time for children. But the concern about TV wasn't limited strictly to Peters Township. In fact, parents across the nation were so concerned that they actually formed in the late 1970s a national PTA action center on television. And in the display, you'll see a bumper sticker that says, "What is your child watching?" And then two brochures, one entitled "The Challenge Before Us, the National PTA's Action Plan for Television." And what it details is the formation of the national group and then its efforts to reduce the amount of sex and violence on television. And the second brochure, entitled "A Guide to the Names and Addresses of the People Responsible for the Programs That You and Your Children See on Television," was actually a list of the mailing addresses, names, mailing addresses, and phone numbers of primetime advertisers. And parents were then encouraged to contact these advertisers by either phone or mail to voice displeasure about inappropriate television content that they may see on their televisions. As well as the concern about the television, there was also concern in 1980 about children's nutrition. So the middle school in 1980 did a student breakfast survey, and in the display is both the survey itself and the final report. So middle school students, you can kind of imagine some of the answers. So the top reasons given for not having a good breakfast or no breakfast at all were homework, which shouldn't have been being done before school, waking up too late, a paper route, which I again think shows it was very of the time, and mother didn't make it, which again, no excuse at all. And then the three most appalling breakfasts that were listed by students on the survey were Diet Pepsi, marshmallows, and ice cream. So as you can see, these scrapbooks by PTA parents really do capture their changing concerns about the students over time. They were always concerned with their physical and mental well-being, but the specific concerns changed with the years. But you can see that parents in the area have always been concerned with improving the lives of local students. Please join me again in July when I will be discussing the delightful postcard collection of the Walker family from the early 1900s.